Turki Al-Sheik and DAZN are frauds, bro. Straight frauds. And I'm explaining to y'all what I mean in this video. Smash the like, sub to the channel, share the video. We're live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at 7:30. Also live Sunday mornings with the Singing OG KQKC Boxing Network. Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Join the channel as a member. Drop super chats when you come by the live streams that we do. And hit me up if you want to debate. The email address is knockoutboxing86@yahoo.com. Now, also, please hype the video up, bro. If YouTube has a new feature where you can scroll over where you leave a comment and you can hype the video up. It's free for you as the viewer, and it helps your favorite content creators get their videos in the algorithm, make them more visible, and recommend the videos more for people looking for boxing talk content here on YouTube. So if you're rocking with your boy KO, please do me a favor and be sure to hype up the video. Now, let's get into it. So, Turki Al-Sheik not only lied, him and DAZN together lied about pay-per-view being dead. And they're charging for the Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr., David Benavidez, Anthony Yard. Abdullah Mason is also on that card. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is on that card. And many others, right? They're charging for that card $59.99. But also this week is the Eubanks versus Conor Benn card. That card is also a DAZN pay-per-view. So they supposedly had this meeting, did Turki and the CEO of DAZN, to where pay-per-view is dead and they're killing pay-per-view and they're done with it. Fans shouldn't have to pay. But not only did they do that, now they're putting themselves in position to charge 2 consecutive pay-per-views back-to-back like Drake, bro. Back-to-back like Drake. And you got people that are scared to say anything because they're trying to get that Turki back. But me, myself, I don't care nothing about that, bro. I'm going to tell the truth. And I firmly believe that if this was any other entity, bro, if this was Al Haymon and Premier Boxing Champions specifically, the firestorm, the anger, the backlash would be crazy in my opinion. And it's always different strokes for different folks. It's always allowing people to get away with stuff that you won't allow other entities in boxing to get away with. And I can't rock with that. And it's not so much charging back-to-back for pay-per-views, because I believe that's going to hurt the sales of both events. Because ain't nobody finna be paying. Bro, that's $120 plus your monthly DAZN membership. So for 2 cards, essentially, if you already got the DAZN membership, you paying damn near $200 for 2 cards. Because you got to pay your membership, you got to buy the pay-per-view on November the 15th, and you got to buy the pay-per-view on November 22nd. I'm going to keep it all the way real with y'all, bro. On November the 15th, I'll be catching the highlights. I won't be able to watch that Conor Benn, Chris Eubanks Jr. card because I'm going to put my money on a card that I like better, which is the David Benavidez, Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr., Abdullah Mason, Jesse Bam Rodriguez card. That's what I'm going to choose to do with my time because me, myself, I pay for these cards, bro. They're very expensive. It's very expensive to be a boxing fan. And I'm going to put my money on the stuff that I want to see over the stuff I don't want to see. Furthermore, though, bro, it's not necessarily the cards being on pay-per-view. It's really, for me, about being lied to. Being told that you're going to offer me something, but then you come back and you offer me something else. That's what I can't respect. That's what I don't like. That's really the huge criticism for DAZN and the huge criticism for Turki Al-Sheik. And now that leads me to my next point is a business that's doing well, why would they be behaving like this? If you're doing well, if you're making money, if your cards are profitable, you wouldn't feel the need to be doing pay-per-views back-to-back like this. You wouldn't feel the need to go back on your word. But the fact of the matter is, Turki is consistently through Riyadh season. Now, I know he has a completely different business model for what he's going to do with TKO, which is going to be the opposite, where he underpays fighters. But for Riyadh season, he's been overpaying fighters like crazy for Riyadh season. And now he's trying to recoup money and he's charging pay-per-views 2 weeks in a row. And if this was anybody else, people would be mad. But furthermore, you can't tell me this is profitable. You can't tell me this is somebody that knows what they're doing. You can't tell me that this is somebody who understands the business of boxing and understands the boxing market. Fans will probably be willing to stomach, when boxing is really busy, fans will be able to stomach maybe one pay-per-view per month, or maybe one pay-per-view every other month. That's really what fans will be willing to stomach, right? And what we're used to when boxing is going like crazy, right? Pay-per-views being spread out. We probably get anywhere from 6 to 10 pay-per-views per year, depending upon the year. That's what boxing fans are used to. But this 2 consecutive weeks during the holiday season, boy, you crazy as hell. People gonna choose Thanksgiving, dog. People gonna choose Christmas presents. Think about it. Chris Eubanks Jr., Conor Benn card. Devin Haney, Brian Norman, David Benavidez card. Thanksgiving. 3 weeks in a row. As a man with a family, let me tell you something. If you got a family, you try this. Go try telling your people. Now, I'm not in this position, thank God, but for people that are tight on money like that are real tight on money, imagine trying to tell your loved ones, we can't have no turkey, or I can't host a Thanksgiving this year because I bought that $60 DAZN card, and I had to buy the $60 card before that, so I spent $100 and something, $200 just to be able to watch boxing on the platform for the month of November. Boy, you're gonna look like a fool. You're gonna look like a fool. That's the position that Turkey is putting fight fans in, bro, and that's why I rally against them. That's why I don't respect it. That's why I don't like them. And then you think about that, what is it gonna do in turn? It's gonna hurt Brian Norman Jr.'s market value no matter what happens in the fight. It's gonna hurt Devin Haney's market value no matter what happens in the fight. It's gonna hurt David Benavidez's market value no matter what happens in the fight. And the reason it hurts those is because when it don't sell, because he's stacking his pay-per-views back to back, and he's putting David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde smack dab in the middle of a Conor Benn Chris Eubanks fight and Thanksgiving, and David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde in them, and the best card is right there smack dab in between them. It's not gonna perform how it will perform if you give it its own month. If you take the Chris Eubanks and Conor Benn card and you move it a month or two down the road or a month or two earlier, and you take that David Benavidez card with Anthony Yarde and all the people, and you would have tried to make it in October or something, or make it in January after the holidays, and it probably would do better. Make it early February after the holidays. It probably do better. Put it in America on prime time. It probably do better. But what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing is stupid business-wise, and he's dishonest and he lacks integrity, which is why I don't understand why people rock with him like that. You can say what you want about the other promoters, but I can't think of a time that Top Rank told me something was going to be free and then changed it on me at the last minute and charged me pay-per-view for it. I can't remember a time where Premier Boxing Champion started out promoting the card as being free on network TV or free on a streaming service, and then turning around and flipping it on me and turning it into a pay-per-view card, bro. I can't remember the last time Premier Boxing Champions charged me for pay-per-view 2 consecutive weeks in a row. I can't remember the last time Top Rank charged me for pay-per-view 2 consecutive weeks in a row. And I find it hard to believe, bro. And ain't nobody gonna convince me otherwise. I don't believe that if the shoe was on the other foot and it was one of those other promoters that I just mentioned doing the same exact thing that Turki did, if Top Rank signed a new network deal, boom, 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 sign that shit. And then they say, hey, look, bro, pay-per-view dead. Starting from this point on, we ain't charging no more pay-per-views. And then a month before one of their cards, they say, yeah, this one's going to be on pay-per-view. And on top of that, we got this other pay-per-view that we charged a week before that. People will be irate. Now, you take that and you multiply it times 100 if Al Heyman and Premier Boxing Champions was to do some shit like this, bro. It's straight trash. It's straight garbage. And what I hate is, it always seems to be a way, and y'all think this shit is a coincidence, his moves almost always find a way to stifle the American boxer, stifle the American market. Always, bro. The only time it didn't was Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Think about this year alone, right? All them American fighters on that Cinco de Mayo weekend, right? They fighting in the middle of the street, the pay-per-view flops, ain't no live gate, trash. All them American fighters on this card right here in November. They fighting in Saudi Arabia, right? They doing all that bullshit. And we're going to put a pay-per-view right before it. Fucking up the market. Stifling their market value. Making sure that the general public don't know who they are. Think of the Shakur Stevenson situation, bro, that Turki Al-Sheikh did, fam. Shakur Stevenson on the undercard of Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga was first off of being on Ammo fucking Williams undercard, bro, through Matchroom. Turki get a hold of Edgar Berlanga and make him the main event to Shakur Stevenson. Because Hamza Shiraz is Turki's homeboy, and he from closer to where Turki is from. And he looked like Turki. He got the same religion as Turki. So Turki do him a solid and put Shakur Stevenson on his undercard and uses Shakur Stevenson's shoulders to lift up Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga, bro. Straight trash. Straight garbage, bro. He lying about charging for pay-per-views. He taking our fighters and shitting on them and disrespecting them. Disrespecting their fighting styles publicly. Trolling them and shit. When somebody show you who they are, man, believe them. Turki ain't got no respect for our American fighters. He ain't got no respect for the American fight fan. The Zone ain't got no respect for our American fighters. They ain't got no respect for the American fight fan. Why the hell, both cards, right? And then I'm going to wrap this shit up. Both cards. The card with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and the card with Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. on that shit. Both cards. How come both of them cheaper over in the UK? How come both cards are cheaper in the UK and all across the world? America is where they come to shit on us and take our dollars, bro. That shit $24.99 everywhere in the world. You want to get that shit. If you want to buy that shit in Japan, you want to buy that shit in China, you want to buy that shit from Vietnam, you want to buy that shit from somewhere in Europe, you want to go to Italy, get some pasta and buy that shit, wherever you want to buy that shit. Outside of America, it's $24. Here in America, that shit's $60. Same thing for the Devin Haney card. Nigga, we got all the American fighters on that card. We got Dave Benavidez, Devin Haney, Brian Norman, Abdullah Mason, motherfucking Jesse Bam Rodriguez, bro. We carrying that card on November the 22nd. Straight up. Meanwhile, Sam Noakes' 15 fans that he got, they get to get the shit for cheaper compared to Brian Norman's fan base, Devin Haney's fan base, Jesse Bam Rodriguez fan base, David Benavidez fan base, and Abdullah Mason fan base. We want to buy that shit. Those of us that are fans of those fighters, we got to pay $60, bro. Man, forget Turki, bro. Y'all need to get off his Johnson, man. He's straight trash for the American boxing market. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Comment below, smash the like, sub up. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.